Have you ever been working on a project on which you were completely focused on a new feature, only to have a notification about a merging appear? You experience that sinking dread as you come to the realization that you have made changes that you have not committed to. The option of abandoning your progress is not available, yet integrating with those changes seems like a risky move. So, there is no need for concern, Git warriors. Today, we are going to make a deep dive into the power of Git Stash, which is your hidden weapon for overcoming scenarios like these. At the conclusion of this video, you will have mastered the art of stashing and will be prepared to confidently confront merges. But before we jump in, let's rewind a bit. Imagine version control as a time machine for your code. You can travel back to any point in your project's history and see what things looked like. But what about those in-between moments, the unsaved edits you're actively working on? That's where Git Stash comes in. Think of it as a temporary holding bay for your unfinished work. You can stash your changes away, leaving your working directory clean, then freely proceed with your merge. Once the dust settles, you can easily retrieve your stashed work and apply it to the merged codebase. Here's the beauty: stashes are like bookmarks in your code's journey. You can have multiple stashes, each representing a specific point in your development. Need to revisit an older version of your stashed changes? No problem. Git Stash allows you to peek inside, apply specific parts, or even delete stashes you no longer need. So, how do we unleash this Git superpower? Let's get our hands dirty with some commands. The basic stash. First things first, make sure you're in your Git repository. Now, with your uncommitted changes in place, type Git Stash. Hit enter, and voila! Your changes are whisked away into a neat little stash. But how do you know it worked? To see a list of your stashes, use Git Stash List. This will display each stash with a unique hash, acting like a fingerprint for that specific set of changes. Taking a peek inside. Let's say you stashed a few things and aren't quite sure what's in there. To view the contents of a specific stash, use Git Stash Show Stash at 0. Replace stash at 0 with the actual hash of the stash you want to inspect. This will display the changes just like a regular Git diff. Retrieving your stash. Now that you've merged your code and are ready to reapply your stashed work, there are two main ways to do it. The first option, Git Stash Pop, retrieves the stashed changes and applies them directly to your working directory. Be aware, though, that pop is destructive. It removes the stash from the list after applying. For a safer approach, use Git Stash Apply Stash at 0. This applies the stash contents without removing it, giving you the flexibility to review and potentially adjust the changes before committing them. Advanced Stash Techniques. Remember, Git Stash is more than just a one-trick pony. Here are some additional options to expand your stash mastery. Stashing untracked files. By default, Git Stash only saves tracked files. To include untracked files as well, use the U flag. Git Stash U. Creating a descriptive stash name. The generic stash names can get confusing. To add a custom message, use the M flag followed by your desired message. Git Stash M bug fix for login functionality. Applying parts of a stash. Not everything in your stash might be relevant anymore. Git Stash Apply pstash at 0 allows you to interactively select which changes to apply from the stash. The art of effective stashing. While Git Stash is a powerful tool, it's important to use it strategically. Don't rely on it as a permanent storage solution. Stashes are meant for temporary holding, so make sure to clean them up regularly, especially after applying them. Think of Git Stash as a way to compartmentalize your workflow. Need to switch gears and address a bug fix? Stash your current feature branch and focus on the issue. Working on multiple experimental changes? Create separate stashes for each iteration for easy comparison.